Hello, welcome to Tabletop CP. Today I'm going to be doing a painting tutorial on early war French infantry. So this is the last French infantryman that I need to paint to complete my force. Wink wink. Complete for now. Maybe later I'll add some AT guns, but as of now I got a full force for chain of command and a good sized force for bolt action with these guys with all the support I have. So after this tutorial, I'll lay all my French stuff out and just show it off a little bit. I think it came out really well, this army. Spent a little bit more time on these than I did on the Japanese and the USMC I did, which with those I did more of a dry brush, quick and dirty method. With these guys I'm actually doing a more of an actual painting method, where I'm actually going to paint the model instead of a lot of dry brushing. Still going to use washes, but we're going to go back over everything with multiple layers and highlights and such. So anyway, so the last guy that I need to paint is this French NCO. He's going to be my platoon sergeant for my chain of command platoon. So here he is. So he's armed with a rifle. So as always, with my painting tutorials, I start off, I have my wet palette, which is just a container with a paper towel and parchment paper with water in it that permeates the parchment paper and keeps the paint moist. And I got some glasses because my eyesight's going a little bit, but other than that, standard stuff. Got your brushes, paper towel, ready to go. So we'll just get started. Alright, so the first color I'm going to use for the base, for the uniform, is I'm just going to go over the entire model with this Vallejo green brown. Alright, so I got the green brown, the uniform base color. You can use a greener green for this. A lot of the models you see of early French infantry are more greenish color. I took all these colors that I used for these from the Warlord painting guide. So what I'm doing is I'm blocking in the colors, they call it. So I'm just going to go through and paint the entire model with the base colors, and then I'm going to go back over it with a wash. So the next color I'm going to do is for the backpack. And for that, I will be using German camo orange ochre. Backpack base color is now complete. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to paint the belt pouches, the canteen, and the strap that goes across the front of his chest. As far as the uniform color, back to that, the leggings, everything are going to be that green-brown color. So I'll go ahead and hit the pouches, canteen with German camo beige World War II. So there's the German camo beige on the pouches and the strap across his chest. So the next thing is kind of unique with these French guys is the trim around the backpack is a red leather color, which is what I'm going to use. So the strip down the middle, all the trim around, the straps on the pockets on all of these, so that strap, these straps, two straps on the side, and then these three little nubbins on the top here, and also the backpack straps and the ammo pouches on the front are all going to be this red leather color. red leather complete. You can see I got around the edge of the backpack, shoulder straps, ammo pouches, all these little straps on these pouches, and there's a little strap on the edge of this square one here. That's also a red leather color. So the next thing we'll do is the helmet. In the helmet we are going to be using reflective green from Vallejo. All these colors are going to be Vallejo. So we'll do the helmet. Next thing we're going to do is paint the boots. Some of these models have a shovel attached to their pack. So I also paint that this chocolate brown. Then I'm going to paint the boots, and then there's a wide leather strap holding the shovel on. If you get one of those, you can use this chocolate brown for that as well. Adds a little bit of contrast to the pack. So we'll paint the boots. Now the boots are done. The last thing we need to do for blocking in the base colors is paint the rifle. So for rifles, I've always used mahogany brown. It's kind of my go-to rifle color. Alright, so we are done blocking in the base colors. We'll do the skin at the very end. So there's the model with base colors blocked. You could leave it like this and just play with it if you wanted. It looks perfectly fine. It's fast, but we want to add a little bit of depth. So what we're going to do, we're going to add our favorite hobby product of all time, Agrax Earthshade. And we're just going to cover the whole model with it. You can go pretty heavy on it. Let it get down into the recesses. Let it define underneath straps, and just anywhere where there might be a shadow, this stuff will seep down in there. So we'll just brush this over the entire thing and then let it dry. So, yep, let's do it. Alright, so the Agrax Earthshade has now dried. So here's the model now. Same thing, pretty much, just got some shadow in the recesses. A little bit darker. So again, you can stop at this point, paint the skin, finish off the rifle, the metal, and then call it good. But we want to make these guys pop a little bit more, so what we're going to do is I'm going to go back over everything with the original color again. So the first thing I'll do is the uniform. This part takes the longest. So what I want to do is I just want to paint the flat spots. I want to leave all these little creases and recesses alone. I don't want to paint over them because then we won't see the shadow. So it takes a little bit of time to do this, but it's worth it when you see the final result. So another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some highlights as well. So once I go back over everything again with the base color, I'm going to add a little bit of this dark sand in with the base color to lighten it, and then we will use that to do highlighting. So I'll start by just going over the uniform with the green brown again. So I've gone back over it with the base color, green brown. Now I will add a little bit of dark sand to the green brown, and with that I'll just go around the edges of the cuffs, edges of the folded jacket flaps. Anywhere where there's an edge, I'll highlight it with a mix of dark sand and green brown. Alright, so I'm done with the uniform highlights. You can see it's not an extreme highlight by any means. It's kind of subtle, but it gets the point across. You could always go more dark sand in mixed with it to make it a more contrasting highlight, but this is how I've been doing them, so I'm going to try to stay consistent. So now what I'll do is I'll just go through with all the same colors, red leather for the pack straps, the pack edging, the German camo beige for the pouches, dark or reflective green for the helmet, and the brown for the rifle. And the same as the uniform, I'm going to leave the recesses dark, so like the edge of the helmet here. So I'm just going to paint inside that flat part. All the flat parts I'm going to paint, leaving the darker color in the recesses. Now also, if you do a little, like this little piece here, I don't know if it's kind of hard to tell, but put any kind of depression like that, if you just put a little bit of that highlight color around it, makes it stand out a little bit more. Makes it look like maybe a little fold in the clothes. So I think I will off camera just go through and redo all of the base colors again, and then we'll come back and take a look at it at that point. So there we have it. First layer of highlights done. Uniform's finished, but I've just once again put the base coat on to bring the color back up onto the rest of the uniform, the gear, the rifle, the helmet, and left the recesses dark. So now what I'll do is I'll just add a little bit of the dark sand again into all the colors for the equipment. I think maybe about 80-20 is what I'm doing. 80% base color, 20% dark sand highlight mix. You can adjust that if you want more stark contrast between the uniform and the highlighting, but 80-20 gives a nice subtle, I think, look to it. Not too crazy contrasty, but still you can tell if you look at it, and it looks good. So off camera I will add this colors, go back in, highlight everything, and then we'll be right back. Alright, there we go. So the uniform is done. All the highlights are on. Like I said, it's not super obvious, but when you look at it, you can tell. The backpack, there's not a lot of edges. The edges are actually all the leather. So what I do is I just go start at the top with the highlight and go down about 50% of the way and just kind of blend it in. The helmet, I just kind of do the same thing. On the flat part, I just go about probably 60 or 70% of the way down with the highlight and leave the base color, and then below that is the darkened shade color. The next thing I do is the rifle, and for this I'm going to use just the metallic black Model Air stuff. It's a shiny black color, so it's good for rifles. It's quick. French rifles, kind of interesting. They have, so this entire part in here is all the metal color. So there's not like a wooden, it's all metal in this whole area. So it looks a little different than most World War II rifles. I think it looks kind of cool, makes it stand out a little bit. Kind of looks almost like an old-timey lever action or something almost. But supposedly it was a good rifle. I've been watching some video about it, and the so-called experts seem to like it. So anyway, I'll do the metal parts on the rifle now. So that's it for the rifle. You can see the metal area there. And this color is nice and easy to do weapons with. It's just one color, it's not mixing, it's not just straight black, it adds a little shine to it. Especially after we hit it with the dull coat, it'll bring down the shine a little bit, but it'll still be a little bit shiny. If you happen to have the model with the shovel on the back, I paint the shovel the metal shovel part itself that same color. So that is it for the uniform. Actually goes pretty darn quick. Didn't take very long at all to do this. Usually I do about 5 or 6 of these guys at a time, assembly line style. So maybe that's why it seems so fast, but it goes pretty quick. It's not a whole lot longer than the quick and dirty, but it is longer. I can usually do 8 guys a night with quick and dirty method, and with these guys I can do about, well, not a night, but about 2 nights. It takes me to do 8 guys. And with these guys it takes me about 2 nights to do 5. So a little bit longer, but the results I think are better. So next thing we're going to do is the skin, which is always my least favorite part of any model. So for this one I'm going to do two-tone layer of skin. Usually I just do the highlight flesh and then a wash over it. But these guys I'm actually going to do sunny skin tone base. And then when that dries, I will go over the high parts, the nose, the bridge of the nose, the chin, cheekbones, the knuckles with the highlight flesh. And then when that's dry, I will take the Rifleland flesh shade and just go over that. Sometimes I do paint the eyes on these guys, and it's kind of a pain in the butt, but a friend of mine kind of shamed me into doing it, so I've started now. I can't stop. But so anyway, I'll do the flesh, the eyes. It's just a dot of white on the eyeball, and then a line, a very fine line down the center of it in black. It's not easy, at least for me. I don't think it's that easy, and it looks cool when you do it right. But if you don't, they look surprised, and you know, whatever. It can look ridiculous if you don't do it right. But so I'll go ahead and do the flesh. Alright, so there he is. It's done. Skin's not great. I'm not very good at skin. I'm starting to work on maybe doing a better job at it, but I just hate doing it, so I kind of do it as basic as I can. It's passable, but so there's the model done. Now I just got to do the base. So of course everyone does bases different, but I'll just go through how I do these. Pretty much standard for me. I take just a cheapo brown I get from the craft store, and then I cover the base with that, and then I'll dry brush a little bit of this tan earth over that, and then just lighten it up a little bit more. I'll put a little bit of dry brush, light dry brush over the top of the tan earth with Iraqi sand, and around the edge of the base. What do I can't remember. I'll have to remember. I'll have to find out what I use for the edge, but I'll do the just the base part itself. Oh, and on these guys I have these rocks on here as well. I just paint those German gray. So I'll go ahead and do the base real quick. Alright, so I finished the base. I went ahead and put the static grass and everything on it. Painted the edge tan earth as well. So there is the completed model. Platoon sergeant for the French platoon. So now I will go put him with the rest of his platoon, and I will take a look at the completed French army. Alright, so he's put him in his place here next to the platoon leader, and the French army is now complete. So here it is. This is a early war French army. This is the setup that's one of the Two Fat Lardies platoon setups. So in this platoon we have the platoon leader. Here he is here. Lieutenant, and of course the platoon sergeant we just did. And we have 3 line squads. Each squad is a machine gun team with 3 crew and 3 riflemen, and a 4-man rifle team. Also a squad leader. So I have 3 of those. The second squad, third squad. We also have a VB launcher platoon, which is kind of like a grenade launcher. Rifle grenade, I suppose, but actually each one of these, 3 of these VB launchers is supposed to go with the line squads, and then there's a pistol carrying corporal. Sorry about that. And 1 VB launcher, but one of the options you have is to take the VB launcher out of the line squads and make it a 4-man VB launcher squad, which is pretty dang good. They get 2 HE each, so they can do some damage. So that's it for the line platoon. So for support, I have a medic. All these are Warlord metal models, by the way. So we got our medic. We have a forward observer. We have a light mortar team, 3 men. Got a sniper team and a tank rifle. And back here we have a machine gun team. That's a 5-man. Those 2 guys are just extra guys. I got a medium mortar, that's more for bolt action. And then we got a Somu S35. We got a Panhard 178. And also for bolt action is a 75mm light howitzer. This is set up with a 6-man crew for chain of command. Chain of command doesn't actually have this in the list, but I think I'm probably just going to run it like a probably like a German light howitzer stat wise. So anyway, that's the French platoon. So I'm done with this force. My Germans are ready to go, so we're ready to do some early war Blitzkrieg in France games. So anyway, that's it. That's my platoon. That's the painting guide, and we'll see you for the next battle report.